You're like, I'm good. You asked me that already.
I'm fine.
Yeah. So thank you for wanting to have this conversation and share. I'll introduce ourselves, and I'll introduce you first as you're my guest. You're also my sister-in-law, and you gave permission and wanted to come on and have a conversation about, your story and anything else where this conversation leads. And our purpose in this, well, I'll just say, to get to know each other, because we have been in-laws for how many years now?
9.
9 years. And so you're married to my husband's brother. And we could talk about all that later as we move on. But you guys have, see, I don't even know if I addressed that correctly, but is that okay? Well, we're just going to have tough conversations because this involves LGBTQ. Did I say that right?
Yep.
LGBT. It involves that conversation and Christian conversation. I don't like labels or whatever, so I don't, but we know how the world is, and I love that God or whomever you brought us to have these conversations, and that we both have the heart to do it, and you have the heart to share. So I want to thank Kat for coming and sharing. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Do you remember that time that we, it was just you and I, and we got together and we did a Mary Kay makeup?
Yep.
And I gave you the facial and the makeup?
Yep.
Yeah. That was fun. That was a long time ago.
That was about 8 years ago.
And you came, yeah, you came all the way. You were in Oakland at the time.
Yeah.
You guys lived in Oakland, but you since moved. So now Kat and Sebastian is who she's married to. They moved all the way in Indiana.
Yep, Evansville, Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana. And what is all that behind you? Because I love it.
The Phoenix Research Library. We have about 3,600 books. I'm a librarian and also a teacher and advocate. This section behind me is mostly Sebastian's books. They're fiction books and everything, but the section on the other side over here is mostly based on alternative lifestyles, LGBT, leather kink community, sex work, and also World War II, sex and Remember Republic, as well as the Holocaust, or known as Shoah.
Wow. So I love, I'm an avid reader. I love reading and studying. And I know that you too love to. That is a lot of books. How many did you say there are? Like
about 3,600.
I'm jealous. I don't even have room. I had to get rid of a whole bunch of my books. You mentioned the Holocaust. That was actually one of my questions before we get into your story, or maybe you can answer the question later, but you are a supporter and advocate for Jews, for the Jewish.
Yeah.
Are you Jewish? I mean, not maybe that religion,
I converted in April.
Yes. So I was going to say, not so much the religion, but the bloodline. Like, is your family, well, you could share that.
My family is not Jewish, but I am. I joined the people in April of this year as a Jew, as a religious Jew, as an observant Jew, as a member of the people. I've been studying the Holocaust since 8th grade, when I did my first term paper on the Holocaust, and I've been an avid supporter of Israel since.
So
over 25 years ago.
So how do you feel about this must upset you then, about how everybody's pretty much against them? It's kind of like the Holocaust all over again. And how do you
Holocaust all over again? The Holocaust in itself was something that was a benchmark in history, where there was an ethnic cleansing, a genocide of people for being different, being Jews, and it's a worst moment in history. But we did roughly with October 7th have the worst attack. October 7th, 2023 had the worst attack since Shoah, which is the Holocaust, on the Jewish people.
Wow. So then how, we're not politically correct in supporting them, or maybe not having an opinion one or the other. We just don't want anybody to get slaughtered and have war like that. But I really, I like that. When I saw that you support the Jews, I just thought that was really neat, because it is kind of rare right now. It is, people hate Israel.
Yes,
they do. But
Israel is the only Jewish state that there is, out of multiple Muslim countries and everything, Arab countries. Israel is the only Jewish state. It's a very small country, smaller than Delaware.
So I don't know if maybe you do know this, but actually in 1948, 48, when they became a country again, that was actually a prophecy fulfilled in the text, in the Bible. And that's pretty exciting and kind of crazy, because before that, they weren't a country since an incident in the Bible when they got the land taken from them. But anyway, the
destruction of the temple.
Yeah. So you thanks for doing this. I mean, for sharing and stuff and having the conversation, for it to go out for all. I like that. I don't know your story, even though we're in-laws, and I've always been curious and wanted to ask questions. And I love this way how it sets the tone and gives permission, and then shares, because you and I both want to be effective wherever this may go and lead. So, will you share your story with us?
I've shared my story in many different formats in the past, especially being a recovering addict, and being an advocate for LGBT community and the Jewish community. But I rarely have talked about my childhood. I've rarely talked about anything that hasn't been around suicide, as well as recovery. So this is something new. So we'll see how it goes. But I was born in 1982. On Camp Pendleton Naval Hospital in Oceanside, California. My dad was a Marine. Later, my stepfather was a Marine as well.
Wait, I'm going to turn off this fan. Jeez. I'm so sorry. I'm a new hostess, and that was very rude. But I want to hear everything, and I want to not have any distractions or noise while you share this very important and very special. You're sharing your heart. So you were born in 82.
Mm-hmm. June of 82.
And where was it? And
Camp Pendleton Naval Hospital in Oceanside, California.
Okay, and your dad and your grandfather were vets.
My grandfather, I have a whole line of vets in the family. My stepfather was also a Marine, or is a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. That's why I went to the Navy, to rebel.
You were a vet.
Yes.
You were and I want to hear all about that too. So, okay. So you were born in a long line. Was your mother around?
No.
Or
my mother's around, yes.
But not when you were growing up?
She was. She was very instrumental in me growing up.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But she was not in the military. She was just a military wife.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
So, okay. Where
to brothers and sisters?
I have two biological sisters, Jenna and Holly. Each of us are born 3 years apart. Jenna was born on my 3rd birthday. I have a stepbrother and stepsister from my stepdad, and a stepbrother and stepsister from my stepmom.
Okay, so your real dad, you didn't grow up with your real father?
I did until I was about 10, 9 years old when my parents divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And then I, at the age of 14, went to go live with my dad again in Indiana.
In that same city you're in?
No, this would have been in Hobart, Indiana, Gary area, Chicagoland.
Oh, where Michael Jackson and them are from. Yeah. So, well, what was growing up like in California? And did you travel a lot?
I'm a military brat, as I said. So I was born in California. I was there till I was about 2 years old. Then I moved to Lake Station, Indiana, which is part of the Gary, Maryville, Chicagoland area. That's when my first sister was born. Jenna, she was born on my 3rd birthday, and then my dad was in Okinawa at the time. And then we moved when he got back from Okinawa, we got stationed in Quantico, Virginia.
Wow.
Where my 3rd sister was born. My 2nd sister was born, the 3rd child of the family. And that was, so that would have been 88 that Holly was born. So Jen was born in 85. Holly was born in 88. To start off, I was assigned male at birth, even though I am intersex.
And so intersex means, for the ones that don't know,
intersex is having different characteristic traits than just a regular assigned gender. It could be, especially in my case, I'm genetically XXY. And then others, it could be different types of genitalia, ambiguous genitalia, everything. But yeah.
So what was it like being like growing up like that? Because, or not, I'm not like that, but in that, how do I say that? What was it like growing up?
I remember the first time trying to cut off my genitals with a butter knife around age 4 or 5.
Oh, wow.
I've always known I was different. I've always known that things weren't adding up. At the age of 6, it was the first time I was raped by a neighbor and his father, which lasted probably about 8 months to a year. And we were living in North Carolina, in Jacksonville, just outside of Camp Lejeune.
I'm so sorry.
And I never told anybody till I was 14. I grew up with being very hateful, being in a dark place, being diagnosed with ADHD, even though later I'm autistic, neurospicy. I deal with depression. I deal with the bipolar disorder as well, a lot of PTSD. The second time I was raped was with my 2 friends at the age of 10, living in Camp Pendleton, California again. And then the last time I was raped would have been in the military, which was the reason why I got out.
My gosh. I'm sorry that happened.
It happened.
Yeah, I didn't know. So did your mom, when you talked about this with your mom or anybody, does anybody protect you? Did they get in trouble?
I didn't tell anybody until I was
14. What happened?
I didn't tell anybody until I was 14. So I lived with the darkness and lived with having behaviors that really created a nightmare in my life.
But you've worked through, or you started to work through that when you were a teenager, or do you feel like there's still a lot more?
It's something that's always worked on. There's a lot of PTSD from it, especially from the military point of view. It was a darkness, especially when I knew I was different, knew my gender was different than what I was being raised as. Because I also tried at the age of 9, try and cut genitals off again. My first suicide attempt was around 8 or 9 years old. I took a bunch of children's Tylenol pills thinking that would end my life.
Did anybody help you? Any of the adults in your life help you, like, try to seek help for that? Like,
I was being military, being diagnosed with ADHD and everything, and being put on Ritalin and stuff like that, and different meds to try to control that and the behaviors and darkness and the hate. It's a very dark place. I was seeing a psychologist and everything, but there's just stuff I never talked about again until I was 14. So there was stuff that never really got fixed, never really got dealt with until later on in life.
yeah,
I have 13 suicide attempts in my life, which the last one was driving my car into a reservoir in 2009 in Salt Lake, Utah. And that was my last suicide attempt before I ended up just about a year later turning to drugs.
Yeah. Well, so when you were talking about your childhood, because I never knew that. This is the first time I'm hearing this, and you're sharing it. So I was gonna ask about your childhood and if it was happy, or like what are some good memories. But
I had a good family growing up.
Yeah.
I can't fault them. My dad was military. So he was away a lot for he was in Okinawa. He was in the Iraqi and Desert Storm wars and everything. When he got out of the military, the marriage fell apart. He was kind of out of our life at the age of 9. I went for a change of pace, trying to go live with my father at the age of 14. If I did not live with my father, because that was my freshman year, I probably would have transitioned a lot sooner in high school than about 15 years later.
Okay, so I saw, I told you this already, but I saw a photo of you.
From modeling, yes.
I stumbled across, and you in this photo, you are a very handsome man. Very, very handsome. I was like, this is her? Oh my gosh. And so good looking. And so that was a modeling photo. And how old were you then? And did you being so
about 27.
27.
And I transitioned about 3 years later. Or about 2 years later.
Did you being so good looking, I mean, because you were a model, I guess, because that was a modeling photo, right?
Yes.
You were a male model.
Male model, but I was also a porn actress as well as a sex worker. At the same time, being a licensed and ordained minister with a PhD in divinity.
As a man, you were a sex worker?
Yes, and female.
But what would you, because now, I mean, you say you and I don't, that's why we're doing this. This is so good that we can ask questions openly like this. And if ever I say, ask a question, I can edit it out or say I don't like that or whatever, but that's not really your style. I think you're very actually transparent, and that's why I had a hunch to reach out. If you're curious why I reached out to I'm just going to go off for a second. Curious of why, I thought this should happen. You had said something you had made a comment on a Facebook that was you're always very sweet and respectful all the time. And I always, even around you, like, yeah, things are different and I'm curious about stuff. And I think sometimes I feel uncomfortable because I can take on and absorb a lot of people's feelings and what's going on with them. I think sometimes in any interaction, but I use that for good. I use that for good. And I think this is a way because I empathize and I like being around you, and I wanted to talk, but then I was apprehensive and uncomfortable because I didn't know. But I think I was apprehensive and uncomfortable because I want to talk and have heart-to-heart conversations, Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you had said something so sweet. I can't remember what it was. And I thought, she trusts me, I bet. And we should have a conversation. And that's why I reached out to say, do you ever speak publicly? And I didn't know that you have. You've actually spoke publicly, a TED Talk and different, quite a bit. So that was all perfectly aligned. But anyway, so back to the sex working and so on and so forth.
What happened was after I joined the military and then got out after being raped, because I was in Meridian, Mississippi, and my CO after I got raped asked me to deny it because we shared a base with Marines where they were the ones who ended up raping me while we were off base in Liberty. So I asked to be let out instead of dealing with it which was the biggest regret and mistake of my life, being let out. Because the year later, 9/11 happened, and I had a lot of regret of not going, being there to defend our country. I was in the Navy, and it probably was after being the third time being raped, it was the most horrible out of all of it, being in the military, and it led to several suicide attempts, but also it allowed me because I was dressing as a woman off base when I was in the military, with friends and stuff like that, and it was a hard time. I decided to dive myself into religion back up. I've been going to church basically on my own since the age of 10. My parents didn't believe in raising us in religion. My mom was former Catholic, whose uncle refused to marry her, my dad, because my dad wasn't Catholic. And my mom refused to raise us Catholic as well. So they created a rift in the family. My mom never believed in raising us religion, and if we want religion, we choose it for ourselves. So I started going into Baptist faith since the age of 10. We had bus callers come knocking on our door.
Yeah.
It would have been in 92. So I had a faith, and then after the military, I dived myself into faith to try to hide, to try to deal, to try to cope, and try to be normal. And so I went to Bible college right out of the military, got my associate's degree, actually got financially drawn from Howes Anderson College. Then when I got my associate's degree through Sher Foundation Theological Institute, then my BA in pastoral counseling, and then went on and got my PhD in divinity. and diving into religion. At the same time, I became a youth minister of a church, and was very involved in church at the same, even though I was doing sex work and porn acting as well. I was not going to let anybody take that power away from me ever again. If I was going to be used for sex, I was going to be on my own terms.
Wow. So this was before you were, okay, you were a man doing this, but
yes.
while you were, I know I'm not saying this correctly, and I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. You were, I just picture that photo I saw all the time, but was that you then? And when you were like, you went to school and became that, and wait, let me back up really quick. When you were little, I can relate to getting on the buses and going to church on your own, because I used to do that when I was little.
I was one of the youngest bus workers, actually.
Yeah, I used to do that. I used to do that when I was a little girl. I didn't know God or anything. I wasn't brought up knowing any kind of spirituality in my home, but I would seek out from neighbors and the bus to go, and I don't know why, but now I know why, you know. But when you were little and going through what you went through, I know you must have, or I'm asking, but I know because how God is, but do you feel like he was with you and was helping you, or there? Was he anywhere like in your heart or your mind? Do you remember a really big spiritual incident where maybe he helped you out of a situation of that rape or something? Is there something there?
Like I said, I never told anybody because I was threatened that if I ever told anything, harm would come to my family. This is a lot to take on as a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And then it happened by a couple friends again at the age of 12. I said 10 earlier. I think it was actually the age of 12, 10 or 12. I think 10. No, 10 was 92, so it would have been about 11, 12 years old for the second time. And like you said, the first time went on for about almost a year before we moved on base. I tried hiding in religion all throughout my life, even as a kid, trying to have something to fill the gap. While I felt the gap was being filled, I never felt whole. I never felt redemption. I never felt by praying for the longest time, because it was easier to admit being gay than being female. I never felt that was taken away. As much as prayed, as much as getting involved in religion, I've never felt until the full peace until I became a Jew.
Wow. So, okay, was Jesus at all involved in this, or do you absolutely?
Jesus, for most of my life, was involved. It wasn't until probably, because I'm also indigenous. I'm also Native American, Oklahoma Seminole. So about 2015, 2016, I started decolonizing my beliefs, to align more with my indigenous beliefs and everything. And so, recognizing that Jesus did not have a force in my life anymore, that Jesus was not part of it. I felt church was always weaponized to try to believe, force people to believe and behave in a way that lines up to a particular sect of religion.
Yeah.
Because I've been Baptist, I've been non-denomination, I've been Mormon. I was an interfaith minister.
What's the interfaith minister?
Interfaith.
Oh, interfaith. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I support all religions. I support, still to this day, people's right to choose religion for themselves, as long as they don't use it as a weapon to harm other people. for them to follow what is taught in the scriptures that they follow, versus following a man at the pulpit interpreting for their flock or for their way of coercing people to believe with heaven and hell, and whether you're going to hell or not, whether you're going to deal with life.
Have you heard of the church? Well, it's an organization, and you being anybody, it's Universal Church something or other, but
Church.
Which one?
Universal Life.
I believe so. Yeah, you can go on there and you can become ordained in which ordained in any. Yeah,
I went to school for my ordination. For the longest time, I actually resented that organization because I actually went to school for my ordination and everything, and so
you can just go on there and buy it.
I can just go on and get it. But when gay marriage was approved and everything in 2014, it opened up a lot of doors for people to be able to marry people who weren't necessarily ordained through going to school and everything without having the cost effectiveness. It also allowed people to keep an interfaith mind, keep one that's not necessarily based on Christianity or on thoughts that you're going to hell for believing certain beliefs. So, yeah.
What were you ordained under?
Originally the Baptist faith.
Oh. So you were ordained under, and we won't spend a lot of time. I'm just so curious, but unless you want to talk about it a lot, but you said you were a sex worker and doing things while you were ordained?
I was. And I was actually married initially too.
You were married?
I was.
To a man or a woman?
To a woman.
Wow. While you were a man?
Yes. I was 19 when I got married. They were 26. It was kind of pushed on by the church I was going to.
Wow.
That marriage was. And it only lasted about 4 years. It was a abusive relationship with them on my part.
Wow. Do you have children?
No.
No. So did they know that you were also a sex worker?
No, not for a couple of years.
Wow, Kat. Okay, so speaking of marriage, so you're married now.
Yep.
And that's to my brother-in-law who actually was born a woman, and we won't talk about
assigned female at birth.
Yeah,
probably the correct way to say it. Sebastian is a trans gay man. I am more sapphic. I was pansexual or bisexual. I lean more sapphic these days, which is very more geared towards lesbian. But Sebastian is a gay man. We love each other, and our partnership works for each other. Well, but we are in an open, committed relationship though too. So we do have other partners that we play with as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. So Sebastian is my husband's oldest brother. And up till he was 50 years old, is when he had the surgery.
Actually, 10 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, had the surgery. And that was a process to watch him go through that. And I was telling you last night briefly when we were getting ready to do this, but how sometimes it's hard to say he and she and things like that when we've known somebody for so long. But it gets easier, and then I battle with it also, but actually I won't get into that, but biblically it does line up to surrender to whatever somebody, because God eventually does too. And
Surrender is a big thing, especially in my life. I think where I will pick up after we talked briefly about snippets of my life without getting too much detail. I think where I will pick up in where we're talking about was in 2010. I got on drugs, and I was injecting meth from the very beginning in Salt Lake, Utah. This is about almost 9 months after I tried my last suicide attempt when I drove my car into the reservoir in Salt Lake. By day 3 of injecting, I'm pretty sure that's when I became HIV positive, and I found out a month later. I lost over 40 pounds in 2 weeks just by using drugs, by injecting. And then I escaped and ran to California, escaping Utah, did geographic, and then found out I was HIV positive. I remained off drugs for about a year and a half before getting back on. My God, I've had probably about 6 relapses in my life. But becoming HIV positive actually saved my life. I no longer had fucks to give. Becoming a meth addict saved my life. Led me to become HIV positive, and led me to start figuring what living life on life's terms was about.
Yeah.
And since I had no fucks to give, I had a choice at the moment when I found out I was HIV positive, to either kill myself or live. And if I was going to live, I'm just going to have to put a face on it and allow myself to be an advocate fighting for those who are HIV positive, for those who are queer, for those who are different. And that's also when I decided to become full-time, living full-time, even though I was living part-time for years as a female. I don't go full-time as female. I was willing to risk my family. I was willing to turn everybody away, which I kind of pushed people off initially. My mom, when I told my mom and everything, she took it was a little hard for her in the beginning, but she's the one who renamed me Katarina.
Okay. So I have a few, if I can ask a few questions. What was your birth name, if you don't mind?
Andrew.
Andrew. Oh.
Based off of the White Indian series.
I like that name.
So she chose the name from literary, from books, from the White Indian series. My middle name was based off of my grandfather's name, James.
Okay, so what do you go by now with your middle name? If you changed to Kat,
it's Katarina Guinevere is what I go by, but my Hebrew name is Braca. So I go by Braca with people that I know, but the most I still go by legally Katarina.
So pretty much with you and Sebastian, or I'll just say you, but like the Andrew is gone.
Yes. And it's been and it took family a while to come to terms. But my dad takes it even harder. But my grandmother helped my mom out, and so did Cher. Helped my mom come to terms with it. My grandmother said, as long as they are happy and they're no longer trying to kill themselves, that should be all that matters. And then when Cher, the actress Cher, the singer Cher, talked about her child, Chaz, for the first time, and my son in an interview for the first time, that helped my mom as well. This is an actress, a public singer, artist, who publicly chronicled the pain and the suffering of losing the thought of losing a child of one gender, but gaining a child of another gender.
Okay, so you actually really consider, or do the LGBTQ or transitional folk, like Andrew is
That's a dead name. That is a dead name that doesn't ever get used. I had my birth certificate change. It says Katerina Guinevere Dulac on it.
They literally call
my IDs are changed, my passport's changed, Social Security's been changed.
So they literally, meaning that whomever it's hard to, you literally say the word dead, like that name is dead, that person is dead.
I stopped trying to kill myself physically, but I killed it's a little bit different with me than most people, because while I say that person's dead, they're still part of me. Yeah. They're part of my life. They protected me until I was able to be Katerina. They gave me a shield until I was able to be myself. To live the life I was always meant to live.
So where is Andrew? Like, where does that person go? And
Andrew was the one who protected Katerina from all the abuse. Andrew's the one who basically gave a facade of living to Katerina was able to be Katerina. Before, in the early years, I've been living as Katerina for 15 years. So,
okay, so
Andrew protected Katerina. I hated Andrew for the longest time, but sobriety taught me to love my duality. It's as an intersex person, as a two-spirit. That's what me getting in touch with my indigenous roots. As a two-spirit, as indigenous queer. I have a duality that I respect. While Andrew's no longer on this physically plane, he did serve a purpose in my life. I have nothing but respect for that person now, but that person is, I wouldn't say just but memory, but it's a duality, which not all people who are trans or intersex will believe or have that duality or share that. But being Native American, I appreciate that duality a little bit more than living just in one body. Yeah. I don't use Andrew. I don't reference that name, except in talks occasionally. But I have a life now because what Andrew protected during all the abuse and everything else.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm so I can, edit that out if you like.
No, you don't need to edit anything out of this.
Okay. Well, thank you. I think I like Andrew wherever he is. I like everything about you, Kat. So, I mean, Andrew, must be in there if you were even willing to talk about it and acknowledge Andrew, So you were Andrew when or I won't keep saying that name. You were,
please don't.
You were the man. I won't. I'm sorry. I'm glad I caught that.
I am the author and artist formerly known as Andrew.
Yeah, I love that because I'm a Prince fan. So, hey. So you you found out you were HIV positive at the age of like 20 something, but I want to keep asking.
Let's see. Since that was 15 years ago, I'm 43 now. It's 28.
Okay, you found out you were. Gosh, that was young. And you. What was it like what happened when you found out? Where were you? And
I was in Palm Springs, and I've been an HIV educator even way before then, doing testing for people and stuff like that. So I knew the symptoms, and I was having a week of diarrhea. And I thought when I was using needles, they were all, I had other people injecting me and everything. I thought they were all new, but I was so high that I had no idea what wasn't or not. And then plus the sex with it and everything. So I became HIV positive. And like I said, I had a choice in there. I could finally kill myself and just be done with life. or I could choose to live life on life's terms and embrace it and put a face to it, advocating for the rights and life of those who are HIV positive. Knowing that it's not, especially now, knowing that it's not a death sentence anymore. That there is, I am undetectable.
Nice.
My numbers are over 2,000, for my CD4 count, which is a normal person's count. I'm very healthy, and I cannot transmit it to anybody for being undetectable.
That's great. There was, well, first of all, I'll relate to you and I'll share, I used to be a drug user many years ago. So I too, I don't know if you know this about me as well. And then I had a question, but I just wanted to relate of what you're speaking about, maybe to bring more.
Yeah, I know you're a drug user.
Yeah. And did you know, I also struggled with, I used to like women. I don't know if you knew that, but I loved, since I was very young, I was attracted to, well, they call it stud now, but like butch women, since I was very young. And, I thought I was in love with one. And before I was 18, I was molested, would I say, by one that this lady I would hang out with. And she was way older than me and I really liked her, but she would drug me. I'd go to her to get the weed and the this and the that. And she had all that, and she had her own apartment and stuff. And she would drug me and do things. I still don't know to this day what she did. But that woman to me, that woman meaning the butch woman, was very intoxicating to me. Like I felt like a hold on me and, my spirit and stuff like that. But I also had many friendships that were, strictly platonic, that were with that type of woman. But I say all that to say, like, I don't struggle with that anymore. That was just a struggle for me. That was something I wanted to change. I didn't want to be like that anymore, only because it started as I matured and got sober. It started to not feel right. Like I kind of knew there was like for me, not anybody else, almost like an enchantment or something, or a lure. It was seductive to me. That type of butch woman was seductive to me. But I haven't had any issues with that. It was an issue for me for a long, long time. But I did struggle with that, and now I just use it for good, because I feel like I can relate to the heart of a woman and what's going on there, But so the HIV, back to that, undetected pretty much means, Oh, that's what I was.
Everything it's not undetectable.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell you. There was a lady at one of my churches a long time ago that shared about her. She was like a leader and respected and things like that, but she had shared very young. She was very, very young. Shared about her diagnosis of HIV. So thank you for sharing that, because it's
being a meth addict, like I said, saved my life. It also taught me to love myself.
Yeah.
I was able to deal with different aspects of my life at different times when during relapses, and each relapse was different to get off, because I've been now sober, clean and sober. I still drink, but from drugs, I've been clean and sober since 2016, January 1st, 2016, before my year abroad.
Yeah.
But sobriety taught me to live life on life's terms. It taught me to love myself. It taught me to embrace life, even in the darkness. It was the most healing thing in dealing with the demons and dealing with the trauma. I still deal with my PTSD. I'm bipolar. I'm autistic. I'm depressive, anxiety. a lot of different diagnoses. But I've learned to live a life where I'm actually happy. Even I have a good cocktail of drugs. I'm on psych meds, but I live a life that is free. I live a life that is open. Um, as somebody who's in the leather community, somebody the leather kink BDSM community, somebody who's LGBT, somebody who's open about all aspects of my life. And my worldview is different too now, especially after my travels for a year in Europe, Asia, and even Africa in 2016. But it's allowed me to be the best version of myself. It's allowed me to live a life that is fully open, fully supporting of myself. I stopped trying to kill myself. I don't use drugs. I live life on life's terms. I'm a proud member, a queer member of the LGBT community. I'm intersex. While technically that's not trans, I do identify as part of the trans community these days. My husband is trans, and I just have a lot of respect for life that I once did not.
So living life on life's terms means what exactly? Because I don't even, I've heard that phrase many, many times, but I never stopped.
Community.
I never stopped to think of what it means.
Living life on life's terms is something that we learned in sobriety. It's basically using it as a term where we learn to use life having to learn to live life and face life without having to use or drink or anything to mask the situations of life.
Oh, so accepting.
We deal with life as it comes in order and deal with it on life's terms in a way that is beneficial to life, that doesn't have us relapsing or have us taken out of living in that situation.
Okay. And I know you don't have all day, but I could be with you all day actually. But I just say that to say, if you want to get off, just tell me.
No, that's fine.
Oh, good. I have this question because I feel maybe there's something different about you, like in the sense of the LGBTQ community and all that.
I'm pretty open, just because I believe in visibility. I believe in providing people a voice. I have a lot of people that come to me, and I have for the years, because I won't turn people away from asking legitimate and honest questions. Versus I don't take offense, and I help people learn about the communities and everything in a way that's not non-judgmental and a safe space.
Okay, yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. Different in that sense to me, because I don't really, well, anyway, this is my question. Are there any things, or what things do you not agree with that LGBTQ is so adamant about, or like everybody seems to want to be grouped in together? I don't want to even be grouped in together as like everything that Christians believe. I do believe my Bible, and I have a relationship with God, not the religion. That's the thing, is like religion, even LGBTQ is a religion, would you say?
No.
Okay, so what things is there anything, or what, well, you probably don't want to talk about that, huh?
Talk about what?
What you don't agree with LGBTQ.
There's nothing that I disagree with. There's a lot of trauma, a lot of hurt in the community where people are forced to be on defensive for self-preservation because so many people get turned away from their families and ostracized and everything. The largest number of homeless people are LGBT youth next to veterans. Because families turn them away, Christian families turn these kids away because it's not quote to how the Bible should live, not quote to how Jesus would want it. when if you believe in Jesus and anything, he's as it also says in the Torah, Jesus parroted what's also already in the Torah: love your neighbor as thyself. And
I won't. I wasn't.
people are not loved. They're turned away. They're ostracized because verses in the Bible are taken out of context. And
I won't.
Never once said anything about homosexuality either.
Well, I won't get in. We don't have to do that if you don't want to, but the debate or anything. But I just wondered things that if, because the Jewish thing, like supporting the Jews, I mean, the Christians do support the Jews, but I also look at the big picture. I believe in not following media and everything that they say and do, because they are trying to get diversity. And I believe they are trying to get Christians against everybody else and everybody else against Christians. And I don't want any of that. But that's why I really enjoy this conversation, because all the terrible things that are on media and the way things are being pushed and geared towards, like, this is real life, right?
Yes.
You and me, this is real life. This isn't on news, the local news of pushing these agendas and everything. But I wonder, does it bother you about me being a Christian, or how do you feel about me being a Christian?
It doesn't bother me you being Christian. Christians don't bother me being Christians if they practice love, if they practice seeing people, meeting people where they are. A lot of churches preach a gospel of giving, a gospel of charity, a gospel of love, and yet they don't follow it. As somebody who's, like I said, I'm Jewish, and I became so. I've many times in my life I thought about becoming a Jew, but I always thought I had to learn Hebrew first, which wasn't the case. But October 7th, 2023, as I was already an advocate for Jewish people, just propelled me to give a voice to the Jewish people who's been silenced from the October 7th and from Shoah. And so I joined the Jewish people because I've already stopped believing in Jesus years ago. I believe he was a rabbi, but I don't believe in him as the Messiah or the Savior.
Yeah. I gather. I thought that
I've never been happier in a religion or in life.
Mm-hmm.
I have more grounding, but somebody who wants to live a life of charity, who wants to live a life of understanding and reach out to people and find common core, I'm all for it. I support religion. I support people's right to choose religion for themselves. I support people's right to choose a religion that works for them, or no religion at all.
Yeah. I thank you for sharing that. I'll tell you a few things that bother me about Christians. You want to know?
Sure.
One thing that bothers me is always going out and causing a ruckus about abortions and things like that. Of course, I believe and I hold to what I study, because, you know, I do hold credentials and I do go to school, but it's not about religion. I have a relationship with Holy Spirit, with Jesus and God and everything. So it's not, I do my own part. I don't just follow a group around, you know?
Yeah.
So saying that, I don't agree with them doing that. I believe that if someone comes and asks, hey, Jamie, what do you think about abortion? But I would never go out and just start preaching that like they do, or praying in front of the, abortion clinic. I believe that really creates this issue of hate towards Christians, and nobody wants to listen to us because we're told to share the gospel. We are told to repent or whatever, but that, I believe, is strategic. Like those kinds of things is when when we start going to church and the preacher then tells us and studies us up on things, and then we go pray about it. To me, an abortion is between them and God. I've had an abortion. I have, but that has nothing to do with my opinion. That was a long time ago when I was 20 something years old, before I knew Christ. And I'll tell you, I don't regret it. I don't regret having that abortion. And so having said that, I believe in the way that they go out sometimes, and people believe the way I go out is wrong. So we're all going to think that. But I do believe to approach with permission and sharing the gospel and asking and searching hearts of people, and listening to them, not saying, don't do this, don't do that. That might come later, and that's between them and the Lord. I'll tell you one more thing about that I always wonder, and I've never shared this with anybody. Maybe I did on a video a long time ago. But when it comes to LGBTQ and how they're always making a big thing about that, don't do that, don't do this, oh, that's wrong, and all these things. But they're not, if you're going to address that, why not address the young kids that are moving in together, having premarital sex and all that stuff? Like, I think it all goes together. Why single out? If you're going to I think we should start talking and guiding the young kids, but it seems that that's more accepted, is what I'm saying, than that. So I think all of this is neither here nor there, really, but it's just, I just wanted to share some of the things that I disagree about Christians and how we approach things. And but we could say that about anything in the Bible. If you're going to do this, then why not approach that? If you're going to say that. But when it comes to LGBTQ, because that's such a big topic, right? Mm-hmm. It is a very big topic in this day and age. And they really, truly believe that Christians hate them, which is not true.
I don't.
But they don't approach it right. And if it's between them and the Lord. We're just supposed to be doing things like this.
There's a lot of Christians that do hate the LGBT community. Yeah. But there's a lot of Christians who love the LGBT community.
Yes.
There's a lot of churches that are welcoming and affirming. I have to say, as a intersex woman, I found the Mormon church to be more accepting when I was there initially, or at least my ward. Not now. They're, but also I'm an intersex woman, so it's a little bit different for me than a regular transgender person. I have no regrets in life these days. I live a life that is free. I live a life that is open. And I've done this for 15 years now. I have a great family who I love and accept. I have a great chosen family. I have great friends. I know my family loves me. They may not always understand me, but they support me. Even my dad, who I have a tumultuous relationship with, never fully got along. I know he loves me, even though he doesn't get it. I know he mourns for his son, but he supports his daughter. My mom, really deep. What happened allowed my family to originally accept me when I was going back to my grandma. She named me Andy Cat, which I changed to Katandy, which was for media. It was Cat Andy, as I served as a talisman for so long. I used it in my media company. I used it in life as a nickname and everything, to combine both names, to combine both worlds, to accept that duality. My grandma basically embraced me to a point where, with the name, is accepting that duality in life early on, where I originally wanted to just forget about Andrew and forget. So But for me, Andrew's not a bad name. It's just not a name I use anymore. It's not my legal name. It's not. It's Andrew served a purpose. Um, he basically was a caretaker until Katerina could fully be Katerina. I'm grateful that my mom was able to give me, because originally I named myself Catherine Guinevere. Guinevere is also, because I've always been big on Arthurian legend and everything. So Princess Queen Guinevere. But my mom was like, I didn't even get to name you. I said, what would you have done? If she ever had another daughter, it was going to be Katerina, which is something my father didn't want as a daughter's name. And so my mom named me Katerina. And
now,
yeah.
So sometimes I see you go by Lady Cat or Lady.
Lady Katerina. I go by Lady Brocken now more than anything.
What is the lady part?
It's from the leather community.
What is the leather
and also
community?
my journalism.
What is the leather community?
The Leather King community is a group of people who love leather, both as a lifestyle, as a second skin of life.
Oh.
They're a community that's built originally out of the motorcycle clubs and people coming back from World War II, men coming back from World War II, who couldn't find a home, who were gay men who had still brotherhood and anything, which women came into it and everything. And the leather community was very big on, especially when the AIDS crisis happened and everything, and raising money for people with HIV and AIDS. And providing a safe space and providing people money to help with funerals, to bury people, as well as the lesbians used to take care of all these gay men. And the leather community is an international global community that's like a family.
I think
actually was through the leather community.
Yeah, I think I met a few members at your wedding.
Yes, probably met several at my wedding.
Which, by the way, I don't know if I ever got to apologize, but I got really drunk at your wedding, and I was.
How did you get drunk at my wedding?
You didn't have any alcohol there.
No.
Well, somebody smuggled it in, and I
would have asked for some myself.
It was so many years ago, and
2017.
I think I wished I was more present, and that's why I apologize, because I think I'd never been to a gay wedding, or what would you call? I'm sorry.
It wasn't a gay wedding. Stasha's man and I'm female, so.
I'm sorry. See, so how would I?
It was a queer wedding. It was a queer wedding because we're both queer.
What is a queer?
Queer is used to be used as a bad term, as a derogatory term, but it's an encompassing label that's to be not necessarily pigeonholed into saying gay, lesbian, pansexual, bisexual, or anything. It's come to be a umbrella term for people who don't necessarily want to be labeled as one box within the community.
Okay. So
I consider myself a queer person more than I consider myself a lesbian, because there's still men I play with. There's still people I play with. Look at my husband, who's a gay man, but we have a wonderful relationship. My camera's going in and out. We have a wonderful relationship, which is straight passing. Straight passing, yeah. We look like a regular straight couple.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think so, because I know I known before that, so I don't. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I never heard that term, straight passing.
Yeah.
Meaning people know.
It also would be kind of known as a lavender marriage.
Okay, well, I had never been to a wedding like that, and I tried to escape or something. I don't know, but I got really, really drunk, and I just wished I was more present. And I just want to apologize.
Thank you. I wish you would have shared the alcohol.
It wasn't
That day
mine.
was stressful.
I actually found it in one of my other in-laws' purse, and I kept drinking it, and she was like, "Where'd all of it go?" I'm like, "You shouldn't have told me it was there." But yeah, that was when Sebastian's dad was still alive, and
Yep, that was his last time seeing his father.
yeah,
His father died. What month? Was August. His father died a month later.
yeah, which is my
No,
John's.
August, yeah, or July.
Which is, yeah, it was very soon after, and
Yeah.
that's John's father, and he stayed with us, and I got to know him, and I remember apologizing to him because I was a wreck on the way home, and I told him, "I am so sorry. This is the first time you've met me in person," and I was like that, and he just grabbed my hand like this and said, "It's okay. I understand." He was so sweet. But anyhow, so where are you at now in life? So you're a librarian. You're working as.
I work as a librarian, but I also work with people with IDD, intellectual and developmental disabilities, and people with autism.
Wow.
I am a direct support professional in PAC services, and work one-on-one in the community, helping people I support be independent in the community.
So you're pretty busy.
Yes, and I was saying earlier, I'm also a journalist, a photojournalist, which I haven't done in a few years. That was my year abroad I was doing. I'm an author. A book that I wrote in 2016 when I was in Germany is called Live to Love, Love to Live the Toolbox by Lady Katarina. That was where Lady Katarina also came from, going back to it, was protecting me as a photojournalist. We finally got Facebook to change my name, get rid of my last name on Facebook. Because I was in places like Morocco and other places where photojournalists can get killed.
Oh my.
So there was a picture of me holding a sign in French saying photojournalists run the risk of being harmed or killed or imprisoned.
Yeah, so they helped you change the name, your last name.
After that, to
change it to you.
Which I kept for 10 years, just about, until I changed it to Bracha Yocheved, which is my Jewish names. Bracha meaning blessing, and Yocheved, because the Exodus has always been my favorite Torah portion, is Yocheved is Moses' mother. And provided, who's also translated to glory to God.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So Yocheved is my Hebrew names.
So do you take on the last name Wilson?
No.
So you don't go by Mrs. Wilson or anything like that? Katarina Wilson.
It's my family, because family always puts Mrs. Wilson on the cards. I kept my last name Dulac, just for purposes. He kept his name. Sebastian did. But as people who are trans-oriented and everything, we worked hard for the names that we've had.
And so trans don't change their names anyway.
No, they change their names to something that works for them. Sometimes they keep their last name. Like my original last name was Swallow. I had a lot of growing up, a lot of trauma around that, a lot of names and everything, and I didn't want to be named labeled as Mrs. Swallow or anything anymore.
Oh, gosh. I guess not.
I chose Dulac as a last name, which is Sir Lancelot's surname. Go back to the Arthurian legend, Guinevere and Lancelot, as of the lake.
My that's neat. I like that. My maiden name was Jackson. So I grew up Jamie Jackson, and I remember the day I had to go down to change it. I was so sad to leave my name and leave that person, Jamie Jackson, because really, I mean, there is kind of not a death, but something is definitely transitioning there. And I was leaving the old Jamie Jackson behind, and I deliberately chose to not take on my last name when I got married, because a lot of women do that. They'll hyphenate it or something, I think the word is. But I decided, and it was hard, trust me, but I was like, well, I'll respect this husband that's going to be mine, and I'll just, not. So I left Jackson alone, but that's why we named Jax.
Okay.
My little boy that you haven't got to meet, but you did get to meet Jared. You met Jax?
Yeah.
No, Jared.
I could have sworn I met both.
No.
When was Jax born?
2018.
Yeah, I met him.
Oh, he must have been a little baby.
Yeah, he was a baby.
Oh, I don't
because
remember.
I think we did in 2018 is when we did I was after the marriage, is when we did the Mary Kay.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Him being born.
Because we moved in 2019.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
It seems
September 2019 is when we moved.
Seems like you guys have been gone long. That's another thing. You don't say you guys, right? I don't say that. Huh?
You say guys. I don't take that as a gendered thing.
Okay. I thought you're not supposed to say you guys or something like that, or hey guys. I don't know. Tell me if so.
I don't find that as a gendered thing for us. It's just like you're just saying people or whatever.
Yeah, because I don't know how to say it, but you could teach me.
That's fine for us.
Okay. See, I don't know. Thank you for talking with everybody, with me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions you want to ask me about anything? I'm open to any questions also. And then
nothing that we can't have in a private conversation later.
If I come up with anything. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'll end it. Do you mind if I end this in a?
I can.
In a
just
prayer?
make sure I get a copy of it so I can share it as well.
Oh yeah, I will. I'll figure this whole thing out. This is the first time I've done this, but can I end it and pray for you and us and this? And it's okay if you don't want to. Totally.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Thank you. Father God, I just thank you, and I lift up Katerina to you, and I just pray that you bless her heart, mind, and spirit, and any other parts that you see in her, God, that you want to bless and lift her up. And thank you for her heart to have this conversation, and her patience, and just who she is, and that you brought her into our family, God. And thank you for this conversation, and end it however you want to, Jesus. In your name, amen.